Hello everybody, my name is Brendan O'Mahony. I'm an insurance lecturer and trainer. This video will deal with contribution and in particular explain the two methods of calculating claim amounts, the maximum liability method and the independent liability method. These are covered in chapter 8 of PDI01 and also in PDI07. Firstly, before we move on, we need to clarify the situation in relation to average or underinsurance. Most policies are subject to average, and the basic principle is that if you are only half insured, you're only paying half the premium you should be, and therefore in the event of a claim you'll only get half the amount claimed. So for example, if we have a house valued at 500,000, if it's only insured for 250,000 and a claim arises in the sum of 100,000, well then the payment is only going to be €50,000. Again, just in the example I've just given, note that I have used large chunky figures not to, I suppose, put any of us astray when we're doing our calculations. The second area that we need to clarify is when contribution arises. And contribution, I suppose, by its nature is when there are two or more policies covering the same risk. So the requirements for contribution means that there must be, as I said, two or more policies. There must be a common insurable interest. In other words, we both need to have the same interest. There needs to be a common peril. So for example, if I insure property against fire and my wife insures property against theft, well then there's not a common peril, so contribution would not arise. There needs to be a common subject matter, so the same thing needs to be insured, and each of the policies need to be liable for the loss. So in the circumstances where contribution is going to arise, we have two methods that we need to deal with. The first one is the maximum liability method, and this is used when neither of the policies are subject to average, and most house policies are not subject to average. So if a claim amount is below the sum insured, the loss will be paid. So really the question we've to ask then is, when we have two policies covering the same loss, which policy pays? And the answer is both. And the second question then is, how is the loss apportioned? So in the maximum liability method, I've taken hopefully a simple example here where we have building sum insured under policy A of 400,000 and under policy B with a different insurer, the buildings are insured for 600,000. Now the actual building value or the value at risk is 1 million, and again a loss occurs of 100,000. So at the bottom here we can see that the formula is the policy sum insured divided by the total sum insured of all the policies multiplied by the loss. So if we apply that for policy A, the policy sum insured was 400,000, the total sum insured was 1 million on all the policies. When I multiply that by the loss, policy A is going to pay €40,000. Similarly, using the same formula, policy B will pay 60,000, so the total payments will be 100,000 under the maximum liability method. The independent liability method is a method that is used when the policies are subject to average. So normally in these circumstances you're going to have a situation where maybe all of the loss isn't going to be covered. So again, let's have a look at insurer A with the building sum insured of 400,000, insurer B with the building sum insured of 600,000. But in this case, the value at risk, in other words, the rebuilding cost is 1.2 million. and again I'm going to use the same loss of 100,000. So the formula here is different. The formula is where the policy sum insured is divided by the total value at risk multiplied by the loss. So if we insert our figures into this formula, we will see that policy A is only covering 1/3 of the loss, which is 333, which is 33,333. And policy B covers, we can see there, half the loss, which is 50,000. So in total, both policies will pay out 83,333, and the loss amount was 100,000. So in these circumstances, the insured is left uninsured for the remaining 16,000 odd of the claim. So I hope that is clear to you. I would be delighted to get any feedback, and good luck with all your studies. Thank you.